This is the Fleming 65, and although it's not a brand new model, it's a very interesting model, so we thought we ought to put one on the channel. They actually started building these in 2005, and Tony Fleming, the man behind these boats, has taken hull number one on a cruise of over 60,000 miles, which perfectly demonstrates exactly what these ocean bashers are all about. Now, this particular boat has got a pair of 405 horsepower Cummins diesels. At 10 knots, the range is 2,500 miles. The price, just over $4 million, excluding VAT. So a pair of sliding doors grant access to this saloon, which is very traditional in design and layout, but it is beautifully put together, and it's just really sensible, practical boat building. For example, the fact that you've got this overhead rail that runs all the way forward until you meet the banisters means in rough sea you've always got something to grab onto and steady yourself. There are a couple of different layouts you can have in this area. You can have another table over this side if you want. You can have a couple of armchairs instead of this L-shaped seating, but whatever you go for, you have this wonderful sort of range kitchen with the breakfast bar, domestic appliances, twin sink, dishwasher, 4-burner induction hob, and of course the American style full height fridge freezer. Now here the decks split. If you go down this companionway you get to the accommodation, which we'll look at in a moment, but first we'll head up this run of steps which takes us to the bridge. Which is extremely businesslike. It's very fit for purpose. This is a boat where you're going to cover thousands of miles, so it's really focused on the helmsman. You've got this huge ship's wheel, you've got all of your screens, communication, you have nav, you have radar, you have all of the boat systems through these bottom screens as here, but there is also backup for all of this, manual backup as well. It's a boat with redundancy built in. Fantastic helm position here in this fully adjustable helm chair. You have this remarkable view out over that purposeful foredeck, and you have this little dinette area as well, so crew can come and join the skipper. Maybe you'd have breakfast here if you were on passage, but this area can also be closed off from the saloon with a pair of doors, so that at night, maybe on a night passage, the saloon is separated from the skipper, and there's also a day heads up here, which is a useful addition. It says a lot about this boat's intentions that you have an almost commercial spec set up here at the helm. You have the twin screens where you can show a whole array of information. This boat's always got radar, you could have the chart on one side, etc. And then all of the boat systems are viewable through this bonning screen here, so you can see all of the boat systems lit up down here. You can control them all from here, but there's also manual redundancy for all of that. So if the screens were to go down, you were to lose power, you could control everything from the switchboard. There's also where you see the controls for the fin stabilizers this boat has got, and again you have your twin throttles, and you've got your sticks here for the bow thruster and the stern thruster. A really nice feature of the 65 design is this internal access from the bridge up to the flybridge, which means as well as the cockpit access, you can get up to the top deck from here as well. And it's what I was talking about earlier about that mix of passage making intent with comfort. So you have a really nice comfortable dinette up here. Of course you have your flybridge helm as well, which gives you a fantastic view in good weather out over the foredeck. And then aft, this is dedicated to storing the tender, which is launched on and off this deck via the crane that you can see down here. This is an owner run boat, so it has to be a safe and practical boat to move around on, and it really is. I like the fact that you've got boarding gates on both sides, so you don't always have to get on and off at the transom, and you have a railing wherever you are. There's one that runs all the way along here. As I move further forward, there's one to help me up these steps, and there's another one up here as well. It is a very safe boat to crew, and you also have sliding doors here, so you can get onto the side decks from either side of the bridge. Again, that's very useful. It means the skipper can pop his head out and communicate with the crew easily enough. Again, railings absolutely everywhere, and you have this Portuguese bridge as well, so you can easily move round the front of the wheelhouse to the opposite side deck. There's gates both sides here just to cut them off from the Portuguese bridge if you need to. Again, railings, tall railings here, and then you get up here to the anchor or anchors. Obviously you have space here for two, excellent access to the windlass, and then under here you just have a lot of storage space, and it's also not a bad place to catch the sun if the weather suits. Down to the accommodation then, and there are a few options on this boat. This particular one here to starboard has got bunk cabins, but it's also set up as a bit of a study as well. Behind this sliding door here, you have the washer dryer, and to port you have a twin on this boat, but you can have a double if you want. They'll also do a full beam midships master if you want that as well. To starboard, this boat has got a day heads, and then the master suite on this boat is right forward here in the bow, where the headroom just rockets. Really good. And you've got this nice sort of well here with the skylight in the top, so that light pours down on top of the bed. Again, the cabinetry, it just feels really solid and really proper. And of course, this cabin has its own ensuite. Engine room access on the 65 through this enormously hefty hatch. Of course, there's a ridiculously over-engineered stand to stop it dropping on your head. And then you're down here through a nice shallow run of steps into the lazarette first, where you have loads of storage, where you also have access to from these hatches, so you don't always have to open this hatch just to drop stuff into the lazarette. Steering system, all that stuff is all really accessible down here, but to get to the engine room you have to open this watertight door. It's less of an engine room, more of a surgical theatre. It's so well lit in here, it's spotlessly clean, and everything is so brilliantly laid out. Of course, there's only crouching room here. Headroom is a little bit restricted, but it's still very easy to get to everything, especially with these smaller 405 horsepower Cummins. You can have 800 horsepower MANs or 1000 horsepower MANs, but these are the smallest blocks, so it makes them very easy to work on. But you notice that they've even put mirrors this side of the fuel tank, so you can inspect that side of the engine visually without having to climb over and look at it. And of course, it's the same on that side. You've got all your fuel filters here, clear bowls, so you can easily inspect the quality of the fuel by your eye. There are 4 fuel tanks. There's a fuel switch system, fuel management system, so you can move fuel between the tanks. You can polish it on the way through as well. Loads of redundancy there if you do pick up some bad fuel, and you have good access also to the fin stabilizers, which are just in the corner of the engine room here. Thank you very much for watching our tour of the Fleming 65. If you like this video, please click subscribe and click the bell icon so you get a notification when we upload a new video, because there's going to be plenty more content like this on the way very soon.